Hello YouTube, it's Snizzle Pop again, coming at you with video number 4, and I kind of want to change gears here a little bit with this one, and would just kind of like to start a conversation with everybody, with the comic book community, and see if we can answer a question that I myself am curious about, and I'm sure some of you out there are as well, and maybe even had a conversation like this. But my question is basically, when did it become cool to be a geek? I know just not too long ago, a few years ago, geek and nerd were legitimate insults. They were hurled at the pocket protector crowd just before Swirly. But that script has seemingly flipped, and geek and nerd are now labels basically to aspire to. And never before has the boundary between, geek culture and mainstream culture been so porous. So when was it? Was it the popularity of a TV series, like Big Bang Theory or The Walking Dead or Silicon Valley or all these record-breaking comic book movies from, DC and Marvel, mostly Marvel, or even, the fantasy-based fiction like Game of Thrones? Seems, at one time, the nerd-friendly obsessions like gadgets and comic books, and yes, even fire-breathing dragons and zombies, they've become everyone's obsession right now. And I think actor Will Wheaton, self-described champion of geek culture who wrote a memoir, Just a Geek, said it best when he said, becoming mainstream is the wrong word. The mainstream is catching up. And now it seems from gadgets to social networks to video games and to comic books, the decision not to embrace the newest technology and pop culture is a choice to be out of the mainstream. If you're not a geek, you're a Luddite, and that is not cool, said Thomas Dolby, an arts professor at Johns Hopkins University and a nerd icon from the 1980s. Heck, I've even often heard people say, I like comics. I just don't know enough about them or where to get them. It's as if they think some kind of club, where they don't belong. But here's the secret. There is no club. There's just lots of people who are excited about thinking, reading, learning, joking, and mostly, overanalyzing things. In current pop culture, geek is cool right now. Giant robots, superheroes, monsters and mutants, all those things they're at the height of their popularity right now. And many attribute the late Stan Lee, with his robust personality and friendly but feisty demeanor in helping define the aesthetic of the casually cool geek. I would have to agree. I think the name Stan Lee is very well known now to those who are not even plugged into our community. Geekdom has hit its full mainstream acceptance. I mean, you walk down the street in any major city and you'll likely see as many superhero logo t-shirts as you will baseball jerseys. Geeks are mainstream in both reality and online. That's just the truth. I also really like what actor Simon Pegg mentioned on the subject. Quote, being a geek is all about being honest and about what you enjoy and demonstrating that affection. It means never having to play it cool about how much you enjoy something. It's a license to proudly emote on a somewhat childish level rather than behave like a supposed adult. Being a geek is liberating, unquote. I think that kind of sums it all up, really. And as much as there is that acceptance now in mainstream culture, there is some of those that aren't as widely accepting. And we have our fair share of criticism out there too. I recently read an article that was titled, Why Comic Book Geeks Must Be Stopped Before It's Too Late. With the subtext, comic book geeks have invaded Hollywood and turned mainstream movies into an endless parade of overblown juvenile drivel. This is by a guy named Kevin Mayer, by the way. And he says they must be stopped before it's too late. But hey, it's like they say there's no such thing as bad publicity. At least we have their attention. So that's it. I just wanted to throw out that idea and that question and hopefully spark some conversation on the subject. Please feel free to subscribe. Definitely comment below with your take on the question. You know, that question being, when did it become cool to be a geek? So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really hope you take time to share this with your friends. So this has been Snizzle Pop with Pop Your Culture, and you have been popped.